On Friday, the Colombian Geological Service reported seismic activity continues and increase at the volcano Nevado del Ruiz. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated during an official visit in Turkey that Moscow is open to peace talks in Ukraine as long as they are based on a new world order free from U.S. domination. After Israel's crackdown on Palestinians and Lebanon's people, prompting clashes and conflict, regional governments and international bodies demand a de-escalation of the violent Zionist incursions. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. On Friday, the Colombian Geological Service reported seismic activity continue and increases at the volcano Nevado del Ruiz. According to the most recent report of the institution, increase in seismic activity is associated with fracturing of rock inside a volcanic edifice. On Thursday, 3,100 minors quakes and a strongest earthquake were recorded in the afternoon, all in the southwestern sector of the volcano at depths between 4 kilometers closer to the crater. On Friday, about 1,500 quakes have been registered related to the movements of the fluids inside of the volcano conduits.
In 1985, the earth did not tremble, it shook. The ground did not shake like an earthquake, but it shook. If you leave things abandoned, the crops, the animals, when you come back there is nothing, because the thieves are looking to see what you leave behind, and they come to take that. They come to take the things, and then when you come back there is nothing.
In Canada, on Wednesday night, an ice storm battered the eastern provinces of Quebec and Ontario, killing 2 and leaving close to 1 million people without electricity. An Ontario resident was killed by the fallen tree, while a man in his 60s died crushed by a branch he was trying to cut in his yard. Quebec Economy and Energy Minister Pierre Fitzgibbon said at a media briefing that Montreal was devastated, but that the situation was under control. Some people said it is the worst storm they have seen in over 20 years. Emergency centers have taken residents without power, while temperatures have turned near the freezing. Authorities have urged caution and advising people to stay away from downed power lines and avoid walking in wooden areas where trees lined with ice might trap. In the U.S., a teenager from Colorado Springs was charged on 5 counts, including attempted murder, after the shooter's arrest following the discovery of a manifest and plan to perpetrate a shooting at a local high school. According to the District Attorney General, William Whitworth, 19, was arrested at her home in late March after, in a violent episode, she attempted to assault her sister and threatened to shut up at school. After being investigated for the threatening different Colorado Springs school, she attempted to between 2014 and 2016 and planning a plan to carry out a shooting at one of them. The former student, who identifies herself as Lily, was charged with 2 counts of attempt first-degree murder, criminal disruption, menacing, and interfering with staff, faculty, or studies of educational institutions. On Thursday night, a fire broke out at the main food marketplace in Mexico capital. The market, called Central de Abastos de Iztapalapa, a supply center that is located in the controlled colony east of Mexico City. The fighters and other authorities at this site reported that a smoke column over the 50 meters high. The fire affected 5,000 640 square meters of the market's empty packaging section, where the cardboard, woods, plastic boxes, pallets, red basket, and refuse tanks were stored. In Guatemala, on Thursday, the People's Liberation Movement filed an injunction before the Supreme Court of Justice as they condemned their representatives are being deprived of their right of registering for the upcoming presidential elections. According to the local media, the request has been delayed for months by the bureaucracy, which they claim translate into loss of democracy and a violation of the constitutional right to elect and be elected. In Haiti, United Nations has condemned the kidnapping of Dr. Jacques Nonzi, Director General of the National Laboratory. UN Humanitarian Corridor for Haiti, Ulrika Richardson, said the kidnapping, which occurred on the night of April 5th, is the latest in a string of attacks involving healthcare facilities, schools, and churches. The UN is calling on the authorities to provide a greater protection for health and education workers. The general director of Haiti's National Laboratory was attacked with firearms, kidnapped, and later released. Let's take a very short break now, but remember, you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back from the south. Classified military documents detail U.S. and NATO plans on building up the armed force of Ukraine before the planned counter-offensive at the front have lighted Twitter and Telegram, prompting a Pentagon investigation. The documents mark top secret and they March 1st, 2023, includes information on schedules for arms supplies, troops, numbers, and ammunition costs. However, they did not provide details on how, when, and where Ukraine intends to launch its counteroffensive. According to the U.S. media, especially the New York Times, the classified documents contain data on the 12 combat brigades created by the armed forces of Ukraine, of which 9 are being prepared and supplied by the U.S. and NATO, with more than 250 tanks and 350 mechanized vehicles. For the first time since the beginning of the conflict in Ukraine, the United Kingdom Defense Ministry recognized that Russian troops are advancing under the objectives. In this delayed intelligence update, the British Defense Ministry says Moscow has recently regained momentum in the battle for the Bakhmut after the southern west bank of the Bakhmut River. The update also reports that Wagner forces and Russian Defense Ministry commanders have improved cooperation. In the sense that the London report claims that the Russian deployment on the ground will impact a major supply road for Ukraine, and they will be using increasingly effective artillery in their future operations in Kiev. The Foreign Minister of Russia and Turkey, Sergei Lavrov and Mevlut Cavusoglu, held a meeting on Turkey on Friday where they discussed issues related to peace in Ukraine and the grain distribution agreement. The head of Russian diplomacy has declared that peace talks in Ukraine will be possible only under a new world order approach, without disregarding the alternative for the continuation of the grain agreement and all the efforts that peace requires. The head of Russian diplomacy reiterates that peace talks can only take place if Russian interests are taken into account. Minister Lavrov insisted that this will be the principle of which a new world order will be found. And at a joint press conference with his counterpart Mevlut Cavusoglu, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov recalled that Moscow has repeatedly stated that it does not reject peace talks in Ukraine, but these can take place only if they are based on a new world order free from U.S. domination. He denounced that the West wants to eliminate Russia because it tries to conduct an independent foreign policy, and warned that Moscow could circumvent the historic United Nations agreement on exports of Ukrainian grain in the Black Sea if Kiev's allies continues to hinder the exports of Russian grain and fertilizers. On Friday, China reported the imposition of sanctions on Taiwan's representative on the U.S., Hussein B. Kim, for the asking for support from the Biden administration to push the island's independence agenda. In this regard, a spokesman for the Taiwan office of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee said that no person or force should underestimate the determination and ability to defend China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The restrictive measures, which also extends to Haya's family, ban the entry to the mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau, as well as prohibit his funding sources or related companies from cooperating with Chinese individuals or organizations. On Friday, Chinese President Xi Jinping held an informal meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron in Songyan, Guangzhou. Xi Jinping received Macron at the lakeside promenade, and the two heads of states had a cordial exchange at the garden of the Guangdian governor's residency in the Chinese city. Macron arrived Wednesday in Beijing as part of a state visit to meet with his Chinese counterpart and address various political issues, including the conflict in Ukraine. French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne on Friday stated the nation needs to give people a rest after the weeks of fierce clashes over President Emmanuel Macron's pension reform. After the meeting with the union's representative broke out without any progress on Wednesday, the French Premier said workers must not emerge leading for the pension battle. In this sense, Laurent Berger, the head of the French Democratic Federation of Labour, said it was better to have clean words rather than stigmatizing ones, and that for things to calm down, the reform must be set aside. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat, dial 461, and join our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final break, I will be right back. Welcome back. Politicians, lawmakers, and leaders in the Middle East and around the world hold the high-right Israeli government responsible for the latest violence escalation against Palestine and Lebanon. The violence exercised by the occupier against the Palestinian population with this Thursday crossed a new limit with a second consecutive attack in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the holiest places for Muslims, has spread to other territories in Palestine and Lebanon. A heavy exchange for rockets, as well as a new assault on the mosque and riots in these settlements, in addition to the children of southern Lebanon, are seen as the result of the policies of Premier Benjamin Netanyahu, who many believes has tried to cover up the political and institutional crisis in his country by attacking the Palestinian people. Although recently there has an escalation that spread fears of broader conflict following days of violence over Jerusalem's most sensitive holy site, Palestinian Muslims gathered from Friday Prayers at the 10th August Mosque compound late on Friday. There were signs that both sides were trying to keep hostilities in check. Israel has been conducting airstrikes in Lebanon and has been bombing the Gaza Strip, an escalation that is part of fears of the border conflict. Still, fighting on Israel's northern and southern borders subsides after dawn, and midday prayers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem passed peacefully. Friday in Jordan, hundreds of anti-Zionist protesters to the streets in Amman to show their solidarity with Palestinians in Jerusalem. Protesters also call on the Jordanian government to support the Palestinian resistance while calling out the double standards stated by the international community regarding armed conflicts around the world.
Our message today is that we, the Jordanian people, stand in the trenches of the heroic resistance. This resistance today restores the dignity of the nation. This resistance in Gaza, southern Lebanon, the West Bank, Jerusalem, and everywhere is the one that defends Al-Aqsa most today. Today, support for this resistance is required. It is required to stand with it, recognize its legitimacy, stand with it politically and in the media, and to support it with weapons. What is required today is to open the borders and deliver weapons to the Palestinian people. These people are the ones capable of liberating their land. It is not permissible to wait for a decision from the international community, this hypocritical international community that helps Ukraine with hundreds of billions worth of weapons and deprives the Palestinian people of a single bullet.
The Lebanese government confirmed it intends to file an official complaint before the United Nations Security Council over the deliberate Israeli aggressions that took place on Friday. The country's foreign ministry issued a statement right after the Israeli force launched an airstrike near the Palestinian refugee camp Rashidiyah. The minister reaffirmed Israel had a violent Lebanon sovereignty by the bombing areas in the south and the nation. In this sense, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and expatriate Abdullah Abu Habib instanced to permanent mission of Lebanon to be United Nations in New York to submit an official complaint to the United Security Council regarding the impact of the Israeli bombing and deliberate aggressions. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas condemned the Israeli Defense Forces' strike on Lebanon on Friday and accuses Premier Benjamin Netanyahu's government of violating the sovereignty of borderly Arab countries. In a statement issued after the most recent attacks, the movement expressed solidarity with the Lebanese people and condemned the London Zionist aggressions against its people. Hamas also warned Israeli occupations that they should expect a swift of a proper Islamic response from the resistance with heavy artillery, which they confirm have not been used so far. The director of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, warned at the 5th Global Forum on Human Resources for Health that by 2030 there will be an estimated global shortage of some 10 million medical specialists, mainly in poor countries. Ghebreyesus stressed that high-income nations are not expected from this situation, as a report last year that noted that in Switzerland a potential shortages of 45,000 health workers is expected in the coming years. He added that shortages of doctors result in additional presumed non-existent workers, creating stress on the job. Furthermore, Ghebreyesus stated that medical personnel in 160 countries are showing the dissatisfaction with working conditions in their workplaces. On April the 7th, the World Health Organization celebrates its 75th anniversary. The organization was founded in 1948 with the aim of promoting health throughout the world and thus keep it safe. Let's listen to a fragment of the words of its Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, for the date.
We still face enormous challenges, some old, some new. We continue to face vast inequities in access to health services between and within countries. COVID-19 has exposed major gaps in the world's defenses against epidemics, pandemics, and other health emergencies. And the health of billions of people is under threat from conflict, air pollution, and the climate crisis, and aggressively market products that harm health. The world needs WHO now more than ever.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English, I'm from the South, Tamara Marrero, and thank you for watching.